The East Kentucky Leadership Conference closed out its second and final day today in Pikeville, sending attendees home with new ideas for innovation. WYMT's Buddy Forbes has more on day two.
The conversation about creating destination communities continued today at the Appalachian Wireless Arena as the East Kentucky Leadership Conference wrapped up its final day. With more breakout sessions throughout the morning and conversations filling the concourse about how to help the region grow, the second day of the conference offered a range of topics. From recovery to revitalization, groups learned from others who are leading in their hometowns, hoping to plant the promise of progress one mind at a time.
We can see examples in different counties, in different towns, where people have been really successful in making important progress in key areas. By bringing people together at an event like this, we're able to share those successes, and people can be inspired by each other's work.
Attendees say it sometimes takes a gathering like this, seeing what works for other cities, to reignite the passion to help other communities across the region thrive. In Pikeville, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
And foundation members say they are already looking forward to next year's event to be hosted here in Hazard. Coming up at 6, we'll have more highlights from the final day. The second annual Johnson County Trail Day is coming up tomorrow, and folks are ready to get out and hit the trails. The Trail Day features several activities such as hiking, biking, horseback riding, and an ATV ride, but it also offers a little something for everyone with themed walks, birdhouse building, water cooler painting, and more. Johnson County Paintsville Trail Town Committee Catalyst Lair Pack says it's a way to get out of the house and enjoy the beauty of springtime in eastern Kentucky.
I think this year it's more exciting than it's ever been to be outside, unmasked, and enjoying the world. There's no better time in eastern Kentucky than when everything turns green, including the cars with the pollen. But there's no better time for eastern Kentuckians than right now.
Yeah, I could do without the pollen, but it is still beautiful. Pre-registration for the events ends today at 5 p.m., so you have less than an hour to register and receive a free Trail Day t-shirt.
And not too bad of a weekend out there as we run through the next few days. However, there will be times we're going to have to dodge some showers and thunderstorms. It won't rain all day, any day, but the rain chances will be with us as we head through the weekend. Outside right now, you see a little bit of sunshine still working with us on our, well, we had it there, the high-knob camera at the University of Virginia at Wise. 66 the temperature there. I-75 in London, a few more clouds working in, but at the moment dry, keeping an eye on some showers, trying to work into far southeast Kentucky. They're not really making it, just keeping an eye right now on some showers there on the Garrett-Jessamine County border, just to the north and west of Mount Vernon. Those are slowly making their way off to the east and the northeast as well. A general movement to the south and east, but the whole complex is moving off to the north and east. That's just round one of several rounds of rain we're going to have to deal with over the next few days. Temperatures remain mild at this time, into the low to mid 70s, which is actually right where we should be for this time of year. We're going to be warmer than average though tonight. Mostly cloudy skies, showers late, especially along and north of the Mountain Parkway, with temperatures near 60 overnight. I'll have the very latest on when we could see those showers move in and when those waves work through, coming up in just a few minutes. Steve.
All right, Evan, thank you. The Food and Drug Administration wants to make drinks safer for children. Officials are calling for lead levels to be reduced in apple juice and other juice blends. Lead is a naturally occurring element, which means it cannot be completely removed from the food supply. But the FDA says if the action levels they recommend are taken, consumer exposure would be limited. They say establishing a 10 parts per billion level could result in close to a 50% reduction in lead exposure. This is part of the agency's Closer to Zero action plan, which debuted in April 2021. Gun violence in the United States increased during the first year of the COVID-19 pandemic. Data from a study published Thursday in JAMA Network Open shows there were roughly 4,400 excess deaths linked to firearms between March 2020 and the following February. There were also more than 10,000 excess non-fatal injuries. The findings came from data collected by the nonprofit Gun Violence Archive. 4 states, New York, Illinois, Michigan, and Texas, accounted for most of the shootings. Researchers cannot say if COVID-19 itself factored into the increase of gun incidents compared to other issues, including civic unrest. A former U.S. Marine and young father could be the first American killed in action while fighting in Ukraine, according to his family, though so far his death has not been confirmed by U.S. officials. Meanwhile, another journalist was killed after Russian rockets struck residential buildings overnight in Kyiv. CBS's Skylar Henry has more from the White House as the Biden administration pushes Congress to pass more legislation for Ukraine aid.
The family of 22-year-old Marine veteran Willie Joseph Cancel says he was killed while fighting along with international forces in Ukraine. He's believed to have joined the conflict in March. Cancel leaves behind a wife and an infant son.
Our hearts go out to his family and loved ones. We don't have official confirmation, even though we've seen the reports.
This is the aftermath of Russian strikes on Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, which bombarded the city during the UN Secretary General's visit. The Kremlin says the target was a missile factory. But a journalist with the U.S.-funded Radio Free Europe, seen here in a recent selfie video, was killed by airstrikes in her apartment across the street from where the UN Secretary General was staying. Meanwhile, Ukrainian officials say they're trying to rescue civilians holed up in a besieged steel plant in Mariupol.
It's difficult to look at some of the images and imagine that any well-thinking, serious, mature leader would do that.
Friday, Ukraine's president tweeted his thanks to the U.S. for its support of his country. One day after President Biden called on Congress to approve an additional $33 billion in Ukraine aid.
We hope to, as soon as possible, pass that legislation.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she's all for linking Ukraine aid together with COVID funding in one bill if necessary. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
The president is expected to soon sign the Lend-Lease Act after the House issued final passage Thursday. The bill will allow the U.S. to lend or lease military supplies and weapons to Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin has accepted an invitation to the G20 summit in November. That's according to the host of the summit, Indonesia. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky was also invited. The G20 summit is scheduled to be held on the Indonesian island of Bali in November. Actor Benedict Cumberbatch revealed he's opened his home in the United Kingdom to a Ukrainian family that fled the Russian invasion. He was talking to a television station at the London premiere of his new Doctor Strange movie this week. He's hosting the family with the help of Refugees at Home and praised the nonprofit group for providing mental support to refugees. He said the family in his home is undergoing some medical treatment and he wants to give them stability after the turmoil they've been through. Coming up on First at 4, the Federal Reserve eyes the latest reading on inflation. That and more ahead in today's Money Watch report.
And showers are back in the forecast as we head as soon as tonight. I'll have the latest details straight ahead.